What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. And I also want to say thank you very much to all of you out there who have helped me break into the political commentator status here in the Second Amendment community. So thank you very much. I'm having a great time making this kind of content. It lends itself to my personality. It definitely does. So thank you very much for raising me up to where I am. That said, I wanted to take a minute out. I'm taking a little bit of a break on a drive. I'm on my way back from a fishing trip, and I wanted to do a recap on where we are with the pistol brace rule, because we've had some movement this week. We had some wins, and I basically wanted to bring everything into focus for everybody who doesn't follow it quite as closely as I do, or maybe even many of you who have been here every single video, and I thank you very much. That said, this kind of information about us winning will absolutely be suppressed, so I would greatly appreciate it if you would interact with the video in some way that will tell the machine that this video needs to be spread to more people so they can see it. That said, if you remember back a few weeks ago, we had some preliminary injunctions issued by some courts, and those preliminary injunctions covered the plaintiffs in the case, and those plaintiffs included the members of the political action organizations like FPC, like Second Amendment Foundation, like GOA, et cetera, right? So that was big, and that took a lot of the teeth out of the pistol brace rule. And again, I understand that the ATF does not have the authority to make law. Got it. However, they do have the power to prosecute you in supposition that you violated the law. So even though they don't have the constitutional power to do that, they can make your life a living hell. So I'm just saying that, yeah, I don't agree with this, but I'm operating inside the frame of reference that we're trying to be sane inside of. So those preliminary injunctions, as a reminder, what a preliminary injunction means is that we have a high likelihood, or the plaintiffs have a high likelihood of success based on the merits of their case. That's without ever hearing any testimony whatsoever. Hey, judge, these are the facts of the case, without going into a whole lot of argument. What do you think? And it's a rare thing to get a preliminary injunction, and we got several in these cases versus the Justice Department. So that is a step in the right direction. So already have a likelihood of success on the merits. Second, we had some numbers come out from the ATF that showed the compliance rate, and the vast majority of people did not comply with the rule. And I have a dedicated video. I'll have all these videos linked in the description box down below for your viewing pleasure if that's something you want to run down. And then this week, we had some movement in Congress. It took a lot of work from a lot of people, including all of y'all, to put pressure on our elected representatives in the House of Representatives to bring the vote to the floor and then pass two distinctly challenging incidents there. House Joint Resolution 44, which basically said it's a disapproval of the actions of the ATF by the legislative body that gave them the power to be able to do that, or one of the governing bodies that gives them the power to regulate various items. So basically what that says is, hey, we ceded some power to the executive agency to be able to do this thing, and they have now taken that thing that we asked them to do, morphed it into something that they're not supposed to be doing, and we're calling them out on it. And that's why that is exceptionally important, because again, going back to those court cases, wherever those court cases end up being, that is something that those, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Somebody was going to hit me. That is something that the plaintiffs in those cases can inject into the case to be like, hey, look, we'd like to enter a new witness, which is the United States House of Representatives, that just said, hey, we are the people who said they can or cannot do that, and we're now telling you that they don't have the power to do that. That's our job. Hey, courts, go ahead and knock them down. That passed. Now, the next battle is going to be the adjoining bill in the Senate. Now, we had a pretty good, decent shot of getting it through the House of Representatives. That was one thing. Now we're moving on to the Senate, and we do not, or we, I don't consider myself a Republican. However, the gun rights organizations, as far as the leadership in the Senate, we do not hold a majority there. So we're going to have to pull a few individuals and make sure that we crack the whip on the people who are supposed to be standing for our rights and who ran on supporting our rights. So that is coming soon. Now, I have the number for that. I think it's S631, and it's the protecting pistol braces rule or something like that. I'm not exceptionally happy with that one because it basically says we want to carve pistol braced firearms out of the NFA. And I don't really appreciate that approach because it's alluding to the fact that they are under the NFA. I'm not really hip with that whatsoever. I don't like that language, but it's currently what we have. And until we see another submission from a senator, that's probably what we're going to be working with. So eyes on that. That is going to be the next step. If we have two houses of government, it's good that we have one, but if we have two houses of government that say, hey, court, either appellate court or Supreme Court, bros and ladies, can you help us out here? Like, we have two houses of government and millions of plaintiffs. I think that you need to do your job here and go ahead and knock this down. I think it becomes a much more attainable thing. Well, first of all, we have one, which is a good step in the right direction, but it is a solidly obtainable thing if we say that we have both houses of the legislature that say, hey, no, executive agencies absolutely outstep their bounds. And there is precedent for knocking that sort of stuff down in a pretty big way when you look into like the Sackett case that just came down a few weeks ago. There was the West Virginia versus EPA case, which dealt with the EPA's ability to expand the regulations that give them jurisdiction over the air quality. And then the Sackett case was executive agencies usurping or expanding power, dealing with regulation of waterways and their pollution. The Supreme Court in both those cases basically said, nah, you were given a very well-defined mandate. You've added structure around it multiple times, and that sort of thing is just not okay. So you need to slow your roll. And if you want sorry, I got a phone call. And if you want jurisdiction over those things, then you need to go to Congress and ask them expressly for that power. And that's currently where we sit when it comes to the pistol brace rule. I'm sure all of those court cases will be referenced as those continue to be litigated. So thank you very much for joining us here today on the VSO Gun Channel. Hopefully we'll see you again in the imminent future, of course, if we don't get censored.